Good morning and welcome. I am super excited about today's topic, so I'm going to jump right in because I have a lot to share with you today. But today, what we're going to talk about is um, 5 terms that you should know for building a business. And I believe if you don't know these 5 terms and some of their nuances, it's costing you money and it's also costing you time in your business. And so these are really, really important to understand. I'm going to talk pretty fast, but you can always go back into the guide section and check out the replay if you missed something. My name is Sarah and I'm a startup coach. I love helping people get started in their business. I love helping people who have maybe been dragging their feet a little bit or a little bit scared or just unsure of what to do. Ignite action to finally launch a profitable business, because we have to have profits in order to be a business, and we also have to have impact. So I help people get that income and impact in their business. And I help you by helping you avoid the mistakes that I made in starting my own business so that you can launch faster and easier. So here's the thing. There is so much to learn when you are starting a business. It's like ridiculously overwhelming, especially if you come from a different world like I did. I came from the world of education, and I can talk about objectives and learning goals and assessments and scheduling and all things education till I'm blue in the face. It is so easy for me. But transitioning into business, there was so much vocabulary and terminology and systems and ideas and philosophies to learn and understand. It was very overwhelming. I knew that I would have a lot to learn, but I didn't realize I would have so much to learn, and that it would be so hard to learn it. And I'm going to tell you why I think it was a little bit hard here in just a minute. But there were so many things I needed to know, and I didn't even know who to ask or what I should even be asking. And not knowing these things in your online business will cost you time and money, because you have to know them in order to build an effective business. I kept looking for the answers, and here's what happens. A lot of times I would go on free webinars, I would download freebies. I'm sure that you've done a lot of the same things. But I would only get partial answers because people were trying to sell me something. So they'd only give me a little piece of the information so that then I would buy, which is fine. That's part of their business model. It's not like they were scamming me, but I couldn't get the full information that I needed. And I'm a big picture person. I need all the information before I can dive in. And I also found that I would get someone else's definition of these terms that worked for them, but wasn't necessarily going to work for me. And so I just don't work that way. I'm a teacher by heart. I'm a teacher by training. I did it for 20 years. And what teachers do is they teach. They give you the information that you need. They don't make things complicated. They actually take things that are complicated and make them clear. And that's what I like to do. I don't know any other way to do it. I don't want to manipulate people. I just want to give you the information that you need to get it in your hands so that you can build a business that you love. So let's pull the curtain back on 5 words you really need to know and understand and live and breathe in your online business. So the first word is niche, N-I-C-H. Some people say niche, some people call it other things. I call it niche, but this word is super popular right now. If you do any sort of term search on this, you will find dozens and dozens of trainings and freebies and philosophies on it to help you. And there's a reason. You have to know this before you get started. And it's really hard. It's a struggle. It can be very overwhelming. But a niche, according to online definition, if you just Googled niche, it's a specialized segment of the market for a particular kind of product or service. I'll say it again. A specialized segment of the market for a particular kind of product or service. It's not the whole thing. It's a specialized segment of it, a very small piece of the pie. And people only buy from other people who are specialized, who have authority in that area. You literally can't know everything about everything. That's not possible. So in your business, you're going to want to be very specific about what you know so you can position yourself as an authority on that specific topic. You cannot be all things to all people, and if you try, you will get nowhere. You can't do that. We know that as moms, especially, you can't be all things to all people. So do what you do really well and let the rest go. Your niche should be expressed in one sentence that clearly states two things: who you serve and the result that you get for them. It's not your method, it's the results. People buy because you sell results. This is often the hardest part for people to get right because they either don't want to be put in a box or they don't want to be limited. But I heard this analogy recently. If you are chasing two rabbits, how many rabbits are you going to catch? Probably neither. So you may as well just go after one, and that's what a niche is. It gives you one thing to go after. And when you can be really clear on this, all of your content becomes easier, all of your copywriting becomes easier, your audience of who you're targeting to becomes easier. It just frees you up. So for example, at first, when I started my business, I wanted to help everyone online. I'm a helper, I'm a teacher, I want to help everybody, I have a big heart. But who do you think I ended up helping? Nobody. Because it's too broad. People can't self-identify with, are you starting a business? That isn't specific enough for people to be able to identify, oh yes, I need Sarah's help. It's just too broad. So now I just really focus on coaches because it's a world that I know is coaches. Now, can other people come and get help from me? Absolutely. But I'm going to attract people because I've niched down into only helping online coaches build their business. I understand their pain. I can help them with it, but can I help them with all the things? No, I cannot. I can help them with one specific area. Getting started, taking ideas and turning them into reality and getting that first sale. That's the part that I help with. I don't help with growing and scaling and making your funnel evergreen. I help with that first starting piece that helps you get systems put in place and get you results with your first sale. So I've really niched down into that area. You have to be clear on who you serve very specifically. You can't just say, I help all Christian entrepreneurs, because that's just not true. I can't help a software startup company. I don't know anything about software. I don't know, what their special needs are. And if I pretended that I did, then I would lose credibility about helping online coaches, because those are two very, very different things. And instead of people thinking of me as an online startup coach helper, they're like, what does she do? She does this and she does this. She must not be an authority on anything because she's dabbling in all of these different things. The same thing goes for, let's say you want to create Christian jewelry. Well, that's great, but that isn't a specific niche. You want to create Christian jewelry. That is a specific niche because now you've gotten it down. You're not just creating all kinds of jewelry. I'm creating Christian jewelry that really markets to this one thing. When I think of, I want to get a cross necklace for my mom for Mother's Day, I think of this person who creates Christian jewelry. Or if I'm what I do and help Christian entrepreneurs, I don't help people do that specific thing. I help people just who are coaches. So we want to be very specific about that. It's the same thing with being like a weight loss coach. You don't want to market yourself as I'm a weight loss coach because there's 5,000 niches in that. Do you help postpartum women lose the baby weight? That's a niche. People can self-identify, oh yes, I am in that category. I just had a baby. My kids are 11 and 13, but someone may self-identify, oh yes, I'm in that category. I have 10 pounds I want to lose. I'm going to find this coach that does this specific thing. Or maybe you're a coach who helps people over 50 build muscle and maintain their mobility as they age. That's a specific niche. That's two different people in the wellness, fitness category that are doing two very different things. And they can market to those people. Marketing to people over 50 is going to be very different, and you're going to use very different language than marketing to a postpartum mom who wants to lose the baby weight. So if you can see, as you start to narrow down of who you're going to help, I'm going to help Christian jewelry makers. I'm going to help Christian entrepreneurs who are starting their business online and coaching. That just really drives you when you have that be very specific. And the sooner you can get really clear about this, you will start attracting people to you. They'll say, oh yeah, Sarah's the one I want to ask about it because she's really good at it. And you will also be more focused because it does drive your content, your copywriting, and who you're marketing to. And in the end, this will get you more leads and in the end, more money. Having a clear niche drives the problem you solve, and it alleviates the feeling of being salesy because you now have a problem that you actually solve for people, and you're not selling something, you're selling a solution, and you want to help people with that solution. You need a niche to drive your content and to attract leads. Another word that's related to this that you're going to hear a lot, but it's not the same, is avatar. And I'm actually not going to talk about avatar today because I want to be very clear that niche and avatar are different. And I want you to get really clear on what your niche is first before we talk about avatar. But we will talk about that coming up in a couple of weeks, but I want to keep them separate. So that's niche. The second word that you need to know is leads. And this one is probably more widely understood by most people because it's pretty universal. But I think there's an important nuance that I want you to remember as you're building a business that I think a lot of people miss. So a lead is a person that you want to attract into your funnel. And you're going to see me use this, and I actually have a funnel here that I'm going to use on an example here in a minute. I'm a teacher, that's what we do. But a lead are these people that you have up here that you're wanting to attract to come into your funnel. They are people, and we're going to talk about funnel in a minute, but they're people who align with your niche. So when you have this niche that you have created that's very specific, postpartum moms who want to lose weight, you now want to take these leads and find out if they align with your niche. And this is anyone, these leads are anyone who comes into contact with your brand and is interested in what you're doing. They might comment on a post, they might check out your Facebook group or download your lead magnet. You want to then take this lead and capture them in your email system so you know who they are and you can interact about them. And I'm going to talk about email marketing here in a couple of weeks because this is so important. A Facebook group is not enough for you. Your Facebook group can go away in a moment, so we want to get them on an email list. You want to capture these leads as much as you can because this is how you make money. I also have a short guide on how to optimize your Facebook personal profile to capture more leads as you connect with people online. So I'll put a link to that below when I'm done with this video. But those leads are who you get into your funnel so that you can then eventually sell to them and make them into a customer and a client. But here's the nuance that I think is missed all too often when people talk about leads. I have been in so many webinars and trainings with other people, and they talk about leads in terms of dollar signs and numbers. And we have to remember that these people, these leads that we're trying to get into our funnel, are human beings. They are people with real needs and real problems that you need to solve. They are not numbers. They are not abstract ideas or dollar signs. They are people, human beings that we want to love and serve. And we need to treat them as such. It's really easy when you're sitting behind your computer and you're typing up an email letter to send out. All these people are very ambiguous and you don't necessarily know who they are, but they are people and you want to speak to them and love them and serve them. You want to communicate with them and invite them into conversation just as if they were sitting across from you at your kitchen table or you were sitting at Starbucks grabbing a coffee. They are real human beings, so don't miss that. You can distinguish yourself from other businesses by really treating your leads like people and loving them well. So the more leads you have, the more real human beings that you're cultivating and nurturing, the more people you're able to serve and eventually sell to. And starting out, most of your work is going to be around this top part of your funnel of finding who those leads are and trying to attract them to your brand. All right, number 3, ROI. Anybody heard of ROI before? I heard it a lot before I really understood what it was, so I want you to know what this is. And I want you to know what ROI is for 2 reasons. One, because it is an actual business term that relates to money. And 2, because ROI actually has a lot to do with your workflow. And when you understand it these two ways relating to money and your workflow, it's going to save you both money and time. So let's start with the business term. We use the term ROI, which stands for return on investment in terms of money. And one of the most popular ways that you'll hear ROI talked about is in terms of ad spend. So let's say that you have a product that you're ready to sell. So you're going to run ads on Facebook or Google or Instagram. There's lots of places that you can pay to run ads to attract people to come into this funnel that we're going to talk about. So let's just take a really simple example. I'm going to say, let's say you spend $100 on Facebook ads. It's going to cost you more than that to run ads, but let's just use a round number. And you spend $100 on Facebook and you end up with 5 leads that come into your new Facebook group. You spent, let's say you get 20 leads that come into your Facebook group. You spent $5 for each of those one person in that group of 20. So your ROI was $5 per lead. That's how much your investment returned to you. 20 people, $5 each. And there are a lot of numbers that tell you where that ROI should be, and I'm not going to get into that today, but you need to understand that what you're spending should get you a return on your investment. You should be getting something back for what you spent on that ad. And so that's what ROI is in terms of money. But ROI is also very important in terms of your workflow. So here's an example. I spent hours and hours and hours and headache after headache after headache doing content on Instagram. I would spend the majority of my time creating content on Instagram. But after a couple of months, I realized I was not getting a good return on investment for that. I was spending all of this money, but I wasn't actually getting people to follow me on Instagram or to join my Facebook group. That ROI was out of balance. I was spending way too much time in proportion to the return I was getting, and I needed to fix that. I actually have found that Pinterest is a better place for me to find people, and now also Facebook, and using Facebook strategically. You have to understand this value of ROI and return on investment of how much am I spending, either time or money, and what's the return that I'm getting. And you have to be able to do that in order to make solid, quick decisions. I could have spent another month, I'm going to keep doing Instagram stuff and see if it works now. Nope. I need to cut my losses and say this is not a good return on my investment, and I need to stop spending time, wasting time on creating Instagram content that nobody was actually seeing. So when you are able to understand ROI and see that you're getting a low return on investment and change course quickly, you're going to be much better set up as an entrepreneur for success. The people who don't have success as entrepreneurs are these people who don't make those tough, quick decisions that I need to cut my losses and run and do something different. The people who keep doing the same thing over and over and over, spending hours and hours and hours chasing leads with no return, they are never going to get anywhere in your business. And I know that's tough love, but that's the reality. If you're spending hour after hour after hour and you are not producing any results, you have to change your plan. It's not going to magically start working overnight. So you have to be able to make these tough decisions in your business. And here's the thing with ROI is that there will be other people out there that are like, just keep doing it, it'll work. Well, that works for their business, but what works for your business? You have to know your audience, what your people need, and not necessarily always listen to what everyone else is telling you. You are now the boss of your business. You are in charge. You have to be the one that makes tough, solid decisions quickly based on what you know in your business. People who are unable to evaluate their ROI in terms of time and money are losing, you guessed it, time and money. And we don't have that to lose in our businesses. Okay, so that's my tough love comment about ROI. So the next we have 2 more terms to go. The next one is brand. I think this is also one that people are very familiar with, but I want to be very clear about what this is and what it is not. A brand is a clear strategy, a clear strategic way of identifying you and your business. And here's the thing, it's not your logo. A lot of people think logo and brand are the same thing, and they just are not. Your logo is a piece of that brand, but it's not your brand entirely. Your brand includes, but is not limited to, all of these things: your mission, your vision, your niche that we talked about at the beginning, your logo, the colors you're going to use, who you serve, how you show up in your business, how you serve people, the voice you're going to use. Am I going to be casual? Am I going to be professional? Am I going to be fun? Am I going to be outgoing? Am I going to be more reserved? All of that is part of your brand. The type of customer experience they're going to have with you, that's also part of your brand. For me, I want things to be clear and easy and simple. I don't want people to feel like they've been manipulated or that I lied to them. That's really important in my brand, that I'm clear and upfront and honest. I don't know how to do it any other way. I'm a teacher, I'm a Christian, and I don't want to have people feel like they were sold something scammy. The reason you want to have a brand, a solid, clear brand, is because it helps build credibility. It makes you identifiable. There's a gal that I follow. I don't even remember what her name is on Instagram, but she only uses bright yellow. And I know when I'm scrolling through that her stuff, which I really like, is hers because it's always yellow. That's like how she identifies herself online, and that's a great way to do it. That bright yellow, she can get away with it. She's got a fun, bold brand that helps identify her and distinguish her from when I'm scrolling online. It makes you trustworthy because you're consistent. You've thought out what it's gonna look like online, what the experience is going to be, so people know they can trust you. It also makes you memorable. I remember that lady because she has yellow in all of her brand. And it makes you memorable because if you make people feel really good in your brand, they'll say, oh yeah, that gal made me feel really good when I interacted with her. That's part of your brand. And for companies who do this really well, there's a statistic that says they report 92% higher earnings in their business compared to their counterparts who do not have a clear brand. So there's proof that having a clear brand really will make you more money. You'll attract more of the right people to your business, which creates more leads to come into your funnel so that you have more people to sell to. So that's what your brand is and what it's not. It's not just your logo. It's much bigger than that. Okay, here is the last word that I want to talk about, and it is one of the most fun things for me to talk about, and that is a funnel. And I actually have my examples here of 2 different kinds of funnels, and I want to talk about that today for you because I do love a good funnel. You are going to hear a lot about funnels. If you spend any amount of time in the online world starting your business, people are going to talk to you about your funnel. And you need to understand this concept for a number of reasons. One of them is because a lot of coaches are going to sell you on their funnel, the one that works for them, which this funnel might work for them and their business and the way that they run their business and the amount of money they have to spend on ads and hiring virtual assistants. So their funnel might not work for you because they are a different business than you are, and they're trying to sell you a specific funnel, whereas you might actually need a very different kind of funnel, and you will waste a lot of money. I've seen it over and over and over, spending $1,000, $2,000, up to $5,000 buying a funnel system from a coach that may or may not work for you. So you need to understand what kind of funnel works for you and your business. So then when you hire a coach or a program or buy a course, you are purchasing the right kind of funnel system for your business. So today, all I'm going to do is help you understand what a funnel is and the parts of the funnel. And then as we go, and what I can help you with down the road is what kind of funnel will work for you and your business. So let's just understand what it is right now. A funnel is a process in which you take those leads that we've been talking about up here through your business. People call it a customer journey. And so let's talk about what the basic parts of that funnel are. So see how the top is very wide? The top is the attraction phase. You are attracting those leads, kind of like bees to honey, to come and start interacting with your brand at this very top, simple level. It's very wide. You're broad. You're attracting people to see if they are interested in what you have to offer. And then you begin the relationship. It's kind of like dating, like you're courting each other. Is this going to be a good relationship? Is this going to be a good fit or not? So you're going to begin that relationship. You usually have some sort of lead magnet, some sort of freebie that attracts them to get them into the start of your funnel. It begins to solve the problem that they have. You already identified the problem that you're solving because you did that in your niche. They see who you are, and you start to learn what they want. It also helps you verify if that person that you are now in a relationship with is going to align, remember, with your niche. Is this a lead that's going to align with what my niche stands for? So you're going to begin that relationship. And the most important part of this piece is collecting their email address. Because when you have their email address, it is a ticket into their email inbox to tell them more about you and to eventually be able to sell to. And we're going to talk about how you collect that email address here in a few weeks. Then now they've been attracted, they've come into your funnel, you grabbed their email address. Now we're kind of getting down in here. This is less people than all those people that you were trying to attract up here. Now you're going to nurture that relationship. You're going to interact with them. You're going to help them start to solve their problem. You're going to show your authority and what you know and see if they like your what you have to offer. And you're going to do that part in a Facebook group. Just like I have you in this Facebook group, you're getting to know me, I'm getting to know you, I'm hopefully helping you start to solve some problems. You're seeing if what I have to offer matches what you need. You can also do this in email, you can do it online, and if you have something that you're selling in person, then you could be doing this face-to-face in person. And then eventually, as you're nurturing these people, you're converting them into customers. At that point, they actually purchase something from you, your offer. And then eventually the bottom part of the funnel, that's even smaller, is that you're turning them into lifelong clients. People that will buy from you no matter what you offer, they're going to buy it from you because they know that it's worth their money. So that's the basic idea of a funnel. Some of them look like this, some of them look like this. They serve different purposes, they have different parts to it, but it's basically those sections that you need to have in your funnel, and you need to have it thought out. What am I going to do? Now, some of this is I'm building the airplane as it's already flying. I'm doing this as I'm already attracting people to me. You don't have to have every step of this figured out before you get started. That would be a shame because you'll never actually get started. But you need to know where you're headed. What kind of plane am I building as I'm going? We're not just making guesses about it along the way. We're having a purposeful plan. I've said it before. My life motto is proper prior preparation prevents poor performance. So when we have a plan, it actually helps us be more successful. So here's the thing. Now you know basically what a funnel is, but there's a million different ways you can build that funnel. And you can buy any kind of coaching program that will teach you how to build these funnels. But here are some examples. The basic idea is always the same. Attract, nurture, get their email address, be able to sell to them. But you can do that with lots of different ways. Here's some examples. You could start with ads that lead people to a Facebook group, that then in the Facebook group lead them to join your email list that you then sell a product to. That's one funnel. Another funnel would be I'm going to start on Pinterest, and that Pinterest group is going to lead them to my email list, which then leads them to my Facebook group, which then leads me to be able to sell to them. That's another funnel. Another funnel is I'm going to start with an ad that leads them to a lead magnet that they join, which puts them on my email list. And then once they're on my email list, I'm going to sell them a webinar that they can purchase from me that then sells a bigger product that they're going to buy from me. That's another funnel. A couple more funnels are you could sell ads that take people to a lead magnet, that take people to a Facebook group, that then encourages them to get on a one-on-one call with you so you can sell your product to them. That's another funnel. Another funnel would be to use Google SEO to attract people to a website, which then attracts them to a lead magnet, to email, to a sale. So those are just 5 different kinds of funnels. And when you go to buy a coaching program, they're going to teach you how to do one of those kinds of funnels. And if you're buying a coaching program, the people might be great. I've met some great coaches online, but what they're selling isn't going to help my business. So I can avoid spending $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 or more for that coaching program because I know ahead of time that funnel is not what I want to build for my business. So you need to have that basic understanding of all the parts of the funnel and what's going to work best for you. And it helps you do two things when you understand the basics of a funnel. You can choose the right work to do for your business. When you know the general outline of the funnel you're going to use, you do the right work. And we know when we do the right work that it's going to move the needle forward. It's going to be action instead of motion. And you're going to be able to focus your energy better and have a plan for what you want to do moving forward. And then secondly, as I already mentioned, knowing what funnel you want to use will help you be able to get the right help for your specific needs. I've seen many people waste thousands of dollars on coaches that they like the person, their brand is good, but the type of funnel they're selling is one size fits all, or it just simply doesn't work for what my needs are. So here's my encouragement to you. In the beginning, you don't need to understand all of the ways that people can get into your funnel. You don't. You just need to have a basic understanding of what those parts are to have a plan to turn people from leads into clients. That funnel is the same no matter what you're selling. You could be selling computer parts, you could be selling weight loss, you could be selling a business program like I am. The basic parts of the funnel are always going to be the same. So you need to have that basic understanding. Okay, that was a lot of information. So let's start to wrap this up. And just remember, the bottom line is that when you don't fully understand these 5 words, and clearly define them for your business and what works for you in your business, they will cost you time and money. So I want you to have a really strong understanding of them. So I'm going to run down the 5 words really quickly. So if you want to take some notes, I'm just going to go through them one more time. A niche is a one-sentence statement that clearly tells who you help and what you help them do, what results you help them get. Without them, you will not be attracting the right leads into your funnel, and you will drown in creating content because you're trying to be all things to all people, and you will always struggle with creating a profitable business. I don't know any other way to say it. If you don't have this, you will always struggle. I was on a webinar last week about niching down and getting your niche really clear. And the guy asked how many people on here have been working on their niche for a long time. And people said, I've been working on my niche for 5 years, 7 years, 9 years. I mean, it was a long time. And they never had a profitable business because they had not niched down. So if you can nail your niche early on, you're going to be much more profitable and have a much easier time faster. I promise you. The second word we talked about are leads, and these are people, real human beings who align with that niche that you've created, and you want to attract them to you. And remember, they are people. And without leads, you have no one to learn from what kind of content you should be creating and no one to sell to. We need leads. ROI is the return on investment, both financially and for your workflow. Without understanding ROI, you will spend more money and time than you need to create results. Understanding ROI will help you make the best decisions quickly in your business, saving you money and making you money and saving you time, freeing up time for you to do what you really need to do in your business. A brand is a clear strategic way of identifying business. Without a clear branding strategy, you won't attract the right people. People won't know who you are, they won't know what you're selling, and they won't know what your offer is. No leads, no sales. And then a funnel. A funnel is the process in which you take your leads and turn them from interested into buyers, into clients. And hopefully eventually lifelong clients and raving fans who love all of your stuff. You want to begin thinking about what your funnel will look like so you can keep it very streamlined. You don't want to have a funnel plus all this other little stuff out here. You want to have one clear funnel that works for you, that saves you time and focuses your work. and you want to keep it streamlined with the highest ROI. This will help you know the right work to do and help you maximize your profits. Those are all really important things to me. Maximizing your time, maximizing your profit, and maximizing the impact that you have on other people. Because if you have a good business that has a problem that you solve for people, you want to maximize the impact that you can have. Okay, that was a lot of information. I wish that I had known all of that a long time ago. It would have made life a lot easier. So I will post this video in the guides section of my Facebook group so that you can watch it again if you need to. And if you have any questions about these 5 terms, then you can always ask there in my Facebook group, and I would be happy to try and answer them for you. All right, next week we are going to be tackling the question of how do I stop trying to do it all? Or maybe the question for you is, how do I start doing the right work because there's so many things to do, I'm overwhelmed. And we're going to talk about what that looks like by really digging into our niche and how to get that really clear. So I hope you'll join me for that Facebook Live next Monday. And if this is helpful to you, I hope that you would invite people to this group and invite them to our training. You can share this with other people and invite them to the group. And if you are at the point where you're like, I know those 5 terms, but I don't know what the next right step is, I do offer a free 1-hour discovery call with me so that we can start talking about this and making a plan for your business. And so I'll put a couple links below this afterwards, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks for joining me live.